This is crazy. I know we're not Kirk County. I know we're not Kerrville. I know we're not San Angelo or San Antonio. But hell, we're human beings. Help us. Give us what we need.
Heartbreaking request from a woman in distress.
What you gonna do, crybaby?
With alligator
I'll wear Alcatraz mask if I want to.
These two clips perfectly encapsulate this wily coyotean wall we keep running full steam face first into. How the fuck do we force these people to find human empathy before things happen to them specifically? These are the same people that will callously invoke God's wrath for smiting the wicked in California with wildfires, who will then turn around and clutch their pearls aghast that you point out the hypocrisy in that fucking thought process when it comes to them. Sorry. Same people that we beg to walk a mile in other people's shoes look at us with confusion as we can't muster up sympathy for them as they've mocked others in need. So if anybody has a good idea how to force people to care about other people, I'm all ears and out of ideas.
So wait, Texas has been cheering on ICE all across the country, and now y'all want sympathy for a flood? Have you lost your minds? No, I don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the mom that had that 4-year-old ripped from her arms and will have to hear her baby scream in her head for the rest of her life. That's who I feel bad for, MAGA. You guys voted to take this National Weather Service away. You guys voted and cheered on those shutting everything down. I don't care about you people. I hope you suffer worse than anyone. I hope the parents of these kids regret every day voting for Donald Trump. And I don't want to hear we don't know who they voted for. It's Texas and it's a camp. And the fact that y'all even want empathy tells me everything. Like, sure, I absolutely hate that kids were lost today and other lives. But you guys have cheered on everybody else's demise. Maybe it's all time we get some popcorn and watch yours.
I'm going to say it because y'all scary as fuck and I don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a fuck. And am I sad? No. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the fuck I said. I don't give a fuck, and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the fuck you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again. People being deported. Y'all were okay with that. Be okay with not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy because I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying. Y'all didn't give a fuck when it was brown people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a repetitive cycle going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote that line? Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. Yeah, racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. And guess who's paying for it? Okay.
Are not used to people telling them and calling them out on their racism and telling them about their double standards and how you wouldn't give a damn about other children and how there's children in ICE detention right now who y'all don't give two fucks about. There's no prayers going up for them, but we're supposed to stop the world and stop everything we're doing to go and hunt for these little missing white girls. Again, I actually have empathy, so I can put myself in other people's shoes and understand that that's pretty fucked up. But
she will be remembered for this comment for the rest of her life. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, there is a creator on here called Seiji's World who decided to make a video yesterday claiming that the children who passed during the tragic event at Camp Mystic yesterday deserved to go because they were at a camp that was meant for all white, alt-right, conservative Christians whose family voted for Donald Trump. Children. These were children. Yes, obviously some adults did pass, very unfortunately, in this situation, but she was specifically referring to the children that were unalived.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white.
There's just a little snippet for you. You guys can go to her page and actually watch the video because she has it pinned to the top. And the recent videos that she's been posting have been absolutely diabolical. Not only has she doubled down on what she stated, but she's proud of what she's stated. And she's fighting up against anybody who says otherwise. And just a little clarification here, Camp Mystic is not for all white people. Nowhere on their website says anything about this being dedicated for only one race. But yes, it is a little girls' camp, and yes, it is a Christian camp. It also says nothing about only accepting families who voted for Donald Trump. And she's been going back and forth with a couple of creators, and in one of those creators' pages, she left this comment right here where they were calling her out, saying that she should reap the consequences of what she's stating. And she said, consequences for what? Laughing, laughing, laughing. Maybe it was God's will to wash them lil away. Let me remind you, she's talking about little kids, referring to them as a see you next Tuesday, and claiming that it was God's will for them to be swept away and drowned. And you know what's even more crazy in all of this? She's married to a pastor here in Houston, a white pastor. I am just sickened by this from every which angle. It's crazy that she even stated any of this to begin with, that she was even trying to make this a racial issue, but then also trying to make this a political issue, and then tripling down, and then also being married to somebody who is a pastor. I'm sickened, I'm disheartened for the family, and I'm so glad that she's having to reap these consequences. Somebody's already gone out, apparently she's already lost her job, and I'm never one typically for cancel culture, but in this situation, I hope that she is remembered for that comment for the rest of her life, and I hope that she is remembered for those videos for the rest of her life, because that is unforgivable from all sides and from all standards. It is disgusting what this world has come to, and it is even more disgusting that people like that.
So let me just get this straight. I want people to understand, if you're not going to get mad at God, because God is nature, God is earth, God is the universe, then don't get mad at me and don't get mad at black people. I'm just trying to figure out, how is it possible for a lot of white folks directly out here who've been talking so reckless when it dealt with the immigrants? You want to tell them this, that, and the third, and you need to go back and all this other type of stuff, right? Talking reckless. And then y'all still the same people who tell them to go back to where it is that they came from. And then in return, you decide when you want to go on vacation, you want to go to Mexico. You want to go to Cancun. When it's time for retirement, you want to retire in Mexico. You don't want to retire in the United States, right? And you want to tell them to go back where it is that they came from, and they're not legal citizens and all this other type of stuff, right? That's some crazy work. Diabolical in nature. Y'all are also the same ones who did not care during the first extent of Trump's, first term, and how it is that you had everything going on with immigration and, different establishments being turned into these, these encampments where they would separate the parents and the children and deport people, right? We don't know where those people are, where those kids are currently at this moment in time, right? And you heard one of the women say that, she doesn't feel sorry and all this other type of stuff and rah. And here we go with the flood that happened down there in Texas. And you have people that lost loved ones. They lost, family. They lost their homes, everything, right? The most important things to them. And I want to note, these are the same people that voted directly for Trump. These are the same people that are sitting really by, and they're watching the United States government and others tear apart a lot of these immigrant families and separate them, right? Because they are stating that they don't belong here. And these are the exact same people going to the media, going in front of America, in front of everybody, and asking for sympathy and empathy for their situation, of which it is that they are currently in at this moment in time. And I'm just sitting here a little bit baffled and confused. I'm like, do people not realize where a lot of stuff happens to go? Energy is never destroyed, it is transferred, right? So the exact same energy that those who voted for Trump placed directly on a lot of the immigrants here, all of those words that people said over these years, all of that stuff is up there like a spirit bomb, just sitting up there, is gathering. Give me all of your energy, right? It's just sitting up there. Goku's just waiting to sit up there and drop it, right? So because the enemy did not specifically show up, aka Majin Buu didn't, show up, at least during that time, right? It's just sitting up there getting larger and larger and larger and larger. And here you go. It landed. It finally hit. And you have a lot of white conservatives online wanting to get mad at, well, at least in this instance, black content creators when they are stating certain things. If you have a black content creator basically saying that God did, shout out to DJ Khaled, right? If you have a content creator saying that, you can't sit up there and say that the content creator is wrong. Who else is, the universe, right? Who else is moving everything to and from, right? Who else is out there making sure that things are in balance, right? Who else is within nature, right? Because you didn't do it. The black community didn't do it. So who else did it? And it's crazy. Like I said before, everybody wants to get mad at other people, but you don't have the same energy for the source. The exact same people want to get mad at the black community for making a statement will never decide that they want to turn their anger towards God. I wonder why. Is it because either you're pagan and you don't believe? Or is it option number two, which is that you tell this great tale of a Lord and Savior to sell to everybody else, but again, you don't believe what it is that you initially told people? Or again, option three, I'll now leave option three open to whatever it is that people want to write in the comment section. Again, it's a little bit confusing to me on how things like this are able to transpire. But then I realize as a content creator, there's more information to showcase how it is that things like this is able to persist and happen.
On Friday morning, July 17th, 1987, the small town of Comfort, Texas, became the scene of a heroic rescue and tragic loss. Much of the footage you will see was taped on that day by the banks of the Guadalupe River.
It was the day they were supposed to go home. The more than 300 children at the church camp were awakened early. The river was flooding. If they didn't leave soon, their buses might not be able to leave at all.
They come in there rushing us up and everything, telling us to get up, get packed and all this stuff, and everybody was asking why. They said we got to get out of here because the river was flowing over.
We started going around the corner. We would go down the hill, then water started coming in the bus and stuff. We tried to back up, but then the bus got stuck, so they made all of us get out of the bus.
And that's whenever the first wave hit us and started scattering people to different trees.
Kids clinging onto the trees like ants, surrounded by rushing water.
Chris Ray was the first to be rescued.
How many are there of you?
There's the bus over, 40.
How many?
40.
In the bus?
Well, the bus, we all got on the bus. Wherever the bus started going down.
As news bulletins.
So we saw that video, right? So I want people to follow me directly on this, right? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I'm not trying to, go against, the fact that people, lost lives and people did perish. I'm not trying to go against that. But I'm trying to figure out, isn't this the definition of insanity when this happened back in the same thing happened in 1987 in the same month. We're in July right now and this flood happened. And this flood happened back in 1987. So you mean to sit up here and tell me that y'all didn't learn the first time that God told you that, maybe you shouldn't build here. Maybe this is not the specific place that you should be trying to raise a family and do this and do that. This land is not meant for that. right? Or maybe there's some things spiritually that's going on with that land, you know, beyond your understanding and being able to conceptualize within your mind or the frame of being that you are, that, you know, you just should not be here. You didn't pay attention to some 30 odd years ago. And here we are, right? 30 odd years later in 2025. And the same thing happens. How, like, didn't people sit up there and say that in school we should pay attention to history so that we don't repeat? This is what that looks like. This is in 4K. This is literally in 4K. You had untold amount of lives that were lost. You literally had people that were there on those buses trying to escape, narrowly escape for their lives, sitting up there saying how the waves were coming in, how the buses were basically getting swallowed up. They got hit by the first wave. They were sitting up there, as they stated in the video, sitting and climbing up those trees like ants running from water. And here we are in 2025 in the same exact month, dealing with the exact same thing. Untold amount of lives lost because people refuse to learn from history. People refuse to learn from the past, and you did the exact same thing. And now people are suffering the consequences because of those who wanted to be ignorant directly of it. That's crazy. So how, I'm just trying to fathom, how is it possible, do you expect people, for a multitude of reasons that I've listed, do you expect people to have some type of sympathy and empathy? You decided to play ignorant for 30 some odd years. You knew that chances are very great that this is going to strike. It's going to happen again. You don't know when, you don't know where, but you know in that same place where it happened before, chances are very great that it can happen again. And you decided to plead ignorance. You decided to go against what it is. You decided not to pay attention. You decided not to listen to God. And because you didn't want to listen to God, God decided, let me show you again. And let's see if you learn a second time from losing lives, from losing your homes, from having the land swept directly under your feet. Let's see if you learn a second time. And I promise you, they're not going to learn. I promise you, more than likely, 30 something odd years later, down the road, it's going to happen again. And we're going to look at the exact same thing. Like I said, I feel as though that this fits within the realm of the definition of insanity, where a lot of people would rather live in chaos versus trying to circumvent and forge another way so that they don't have to deal with it. I feel as though that as being a content creator, when I look at everything, I have an understanding that a lot of people are comfortable in chaos. They're comfortable in loss because it's something, I guess, that's consistent, something that is within their realm of control versus dealing with the unknown, right? That's insane. So like I said, you know, it's sad that, you know, these things took place. But it's even sadder to know that these things could have been prevented if people just would have listened and paid attention and not just go out there and do what it is that they wanted to do. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.